The waitress's mysterious warning shocked the millionaire, the dark secret revealed the next morning. Have you ever felt that a random encounter could change your whole life? Join me in exploring this dramatic story, and don't take your eyes off the screen until the end of the video to join me in making insightful comments. That night, everything went as normal at the small but cozy restaurant on the outskirts of Boston. Emily, a young waitress with brown hair tied neatly at the back of her head, is preparing for the weekend. Her crisp white dress is neatly buttoned, and the bow at the neck creates a simple elegance. The restaurant atmosphere is bustling with bustling laughter and the sound of glasses and cups ringing continuously, creating a warm harmony. Emily has grown accustomed to this orderly chaos, finding solace in her daily routines. But tonight, something different was waiting for her. Near the corner of the restaurant, a striking couple caught Emily's eye. The man, Edward, wore a neat navy suit, exuding power and confidence. Next to him is Rachel, his beautiful wife with shiny blonde hair and a gentle smile that doesn't completely shine in the light. Emily recognized them as regular customers. Edward was always polite, often served generous tangerines, and was not afraid to express his gratitude when served. However, the tension between him and Rachel was not something she could easily ignore. As Emily approached their table with a friendly smile, she felt an unusual energy. "Can I help you any more?" Her voice was light, gentle but no less professional. Edward looked up wearily, his eyes glancing over Emily with a thin smile. "No, thank you." Rachel just shook her head disdainfully, her eyes as if hiding a secret. Something is wrong. Emily couldn't shake the shock she felt when she heard Rachel pull out her phone and whisper to someone. "He won't find out anything. The trip is still going as planned." Emily's heart beat faster, she stopped Laura with the tray trembling in her hand. "What's going on?" A trip that Edward could know nothing about. She tried to continue her work, but her thoughts still did not leave that secret conversation. Should Emily intervene? She was just a waitress, but the feeling that she had just witnessed something important made her unable to shut Laura up. As the night gradually falls, Emily realizes that she has revealed something important. She decided she would never forget that conversation. But how? What must she do to protect the truth and the people she cares about? "Don't go with my wife," her short but meaningful warning will change everything. A luxury car appears near Emily's house the next morning, marking the beginning of an unexpected chain of events. Emily knew she had just entered a battle whose outcome she did not know. Will she have the courage to continue investigating and face consequences that she cannot foresee? Are you ready to delve deeper into Emily's complicated life and the secrets behind wealthy couple Edward and Rachel? Please continue following this story until the end to find out the truth and your comments on these dramatic developments. The next morning, Emily woke up with a strange feeling. The disorganized dreams of last night's conversation still lingered in her mind. When she looked out the window, she saw the luxury car from last night still parked in front of her house. Her heart beat faster, Laura's anxiety spread throughout her body. She decided to check the rear window of the car. There was no sign that anyone was in the car or that anyone was waiting. A feeling of Laura's coldness enveloped her, leaving her unable to explain this uneasiness. Emily knew she couldn't leave this matter alone, but what if she was just a waitress? Emily quickly prepares for work at the restaurant, but can't focus on anything other than that strange car. When she arrived at the restaurant, she found Edward and Rachel sitting at the same table as usual. However, this Laura, the atmosphere between them is more tense than ever. As Emily approached their table, Rachel looked at her with a curious Laura look. "Hi Emily, can you bring more water?" Her voice was bare but full of menace. Edward just shook his head, his expression more tired and unfamiliar in her eyes. Emily began to bring them water, but she still couldn't explain the growing feeling of uneasiness in her heart. When she returned to the kitchen area, she noticed a small letter sitting on the counter. Emily's name was meticulously written on the outside, but the contents left her confused. She opened the letter and read, "Don't trust Rachel. She has a plan to make Edward lose everything. Be alert and learn the truth before it's too late." Emily felt like her heart was compressed. Who sent this letter? Is this a real warning or just a cruel joke? She decides that she needs to learn more, but will she have the courage to face the truth behind this warning? While worrying about Laura, she remembered her mother's words, "Always be honest and never be afraid to stand up for what is right." These words echoed in her head, encouraging her to continue, even though she knew that the road ahead would be full of challenges. Emily decides to start investigating. She begins by learning about the relationship between Edward and Rachel. From past tangerine sessions, she remembered that Rachel always seemed to be something Laura avoided when it came to their financial planning. But she didn't have enough information to draw conclusions. She spends time after work researching and looking for information about Rachel. Emily begins to discover that Rachel used to work for a private company that was involved in several large projects, but anyone in that company had no idea what Rachel was currently doing. This makes her suspect that Rachel may be working on some secret plans. Not stopping there, Emily also learns about the relationship between Rachel and other important characters in Edward's life. She discovered that Rachel had had shady business relationships and may have been involved in some shady activities. However, Emily couldn't be sure what was going on, but she knew that she was in a dangerous situation. While Emily continues her investigation, she cannot avoid the suspicious looks from her coworkers and the rumors about her in the restaurant. Rachel, with her power and influence, began arranging to hurt Emily's reputation, making her feel more lonely and pressured than ever. One evening, while Emily was working late, she received a secret call from a stranger. "If you really want to help Edward, you have to give up now," the caller's Laura's voice rang out over the phone. Emily felt scared but determined not to be shaken by the threat. She decides to continue her investigation, knowing that the truth may be the key to saving Edward and herself from the danger that threatens. While Emily continued to try to stay calm and work at the restaurant, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Every time she turned her head, she saw the shadow of a stranger standing far away. Laura's anxiety begins to affect her mental health, but Emily refuses to give up. She knew that she had to be strong to face everything that was happening. One day, while cleaning the table after customers left, Emily accidentally discovered a small USB hidden under the chair. She realizes this could be an important clue to decoding Rachel's secret. But how does she access the content without being detected? Emily decided that she needed help decrypting the contents on this USB. She contacted an old friend, Laura, an information technology professional whom she had not seen for long. After many calls and discussions, Laura agreed to help her decrypt the data on the USB without leaving a trace. When Laura begins decrypting, they discover that the USB contains recordings and documents related to secret financial projects that Rachel has been working on, completely unknown to Edward. These evidences suggest that Rachel may have deceived Edward for many years, plotting to usurp his wealth and power. Emily felt helpless but also determined. She knew that she couldn't let Rachel continue to act without intervention. However, revealing this information could cause her to face fierce resistance from Rachel and even from Edward if he does not trust her. Meanwhile, Rachel begins to notice a change in Emily's attitude. She tried to increase the pressure and even threatened her with threatening words. "If you don't leave now, there will be consequences," Rachel said in a low Laura voice as Emily came to clear their table. Emily felt she was in the middle of a battle with no way out. She must decide whether she should continue her investigation and bring the truth to light or retreat to protect herself and her family. This choice not only affects her, but also the lives of Edward and Rachel. Last night, Emily decided to continue her investigation, despite threats from Rachel and suspicious looks from her colleagues. Now, she is standing at an important crossroads, where each decision can completely change her life and those around her. Emily felt heavy pressure from all sides. Not only does she have to face Rachel's schemes, but she also has to maintain the trust of Edward, with whom she has just built a trusting relationship. But she knows that the truth cannot last forever, and she must act immediately before it becomes too late. She decided that she needed to confront Rachel directly to find out more about what was going on. However, she is also aware that this could lead to unintended consequences. Emily put down her pen, grabbed a cup of coffee from the counter, and looked out the window, where sunlight was starting to filter through the gray clouds. Emily knows she needs a concrete plan to deal with Rachel without revealing too much information. She decides to use the help of Laura, her old friend who is good at technology, whom she turned to earlier. Laura is always ready to assist when Emily has difficulty, and she believes that Laura can help her safely decode important information from the USB. She called Laura and arranged to meet at a small, quiet cafe. When Laura arrived, she brought with her the USB and the documents she had collected. The two sat down in a private corner, the warm yellow light from the light bulbs hanging on the ceiling reflected on their determined faces. Laura began decrypting the data from the USB, while Emily explained in detail what she had discovered. As time goes on, more and more pieces of the puzzle begin to form, painting a clearer picture of Rachel's schemes. While Emily and Laura continue their investigation, Edward begins to notice unusual signs from Rachel. Secret calls, unclear meetings, and lack of transparency in financial transactions made him suspicious about the real situation. Edward knew he needed to learn the truth before it was too late. He decides to work with Emily to find the truth. Although he still has concerns about trusting her, Edward feels that Emily is the only person he can rely on at this time. The two began to cooperate more closely, sharing information and planning how to deal with what was happening. While everything is getting complicated, Rachel doesn't leave the unusual signs alone. She begins to increase the pressure on Emily by creating fake situations to hurt her reputation. Rumors about Emily's lack of professionalism and work ability spread to Laura, making her feel more lonely and insecure than ever. Emily felt like she was being pushed into a spiral with no way out. However, help from Laura and Edward kept her from giving up. She is determined to continue the fight to protect her reputation and find out the truth behind Rachel's schemes. After many hours of non-stop work, Laura finally decrypted most of the data from the USB. The evidence proves that Rachel had illegal financial plans and intended to defraud Edward for many years. These documents included fake contracts, recordings of secret meetings and email communications between Rachel and unknown partners. Laura looked at the screen with a serious look. "Emily, we have all the evidence to prove that Rachel is cheating on Edward. But we need to be careful about revealing this, so that Rachel can't deny it or hurt us further." Emily nodded, feeling a sense of relief but no less worried about Laurag. "We need to make a detailed plan to deal with Rachel without causing too much conflict. I think we should meet with Edward immediately." When Emily and Laura brought the evidence before Edward, he felt a mixture of surprise and worry for Laura. Edward had always trusted Rachel, but this evidence shattered all that trust. He faces a difficult decision: should he trust Emily and Laura, or try to solve this problem alone without their help? Edward decided that he could not let Rachel continue to act undetected. He begins planning to confront Rachel directly, while protecting Emily from possible consequences. He knows that this not only affects his career but also their personal lives. Finally, Edward decides to meet Rachel at a secret location to confront her about the evidence that Emily and Laura have collected. Both sides were full of determination, knowing that this would be an important turning point in the power struggle between them. When Edward arrived at the meeting place, he found Rachel waiting for him with a cold and challenging Laura expression. "Edward, I don't know what you're talking about," Rachel replied calmly, but her eyes were filled with menace. While Edward faced Rachel directly, Emily and Laura constantly worried about Laura and watched all developments from afar. She knows that any outcome will have a major impact on her life and those around her. Emily felt her heart beating faster than ever, worried about Laurag for Edward but also wondering if she had done the right thing she should have done. The outcome of the confrontation between Edward and Rachel changed everything. Rachel, although she tried to deny it, could not hide the evidence that Emily and Laura provided. She is forced to admit her wrongdoings and at the same time accept the end of her relationship with Edward. Everything is starting to become clear, but Emily knows that this is only the first step in the difficult journey she must face. Edward felt much more relieved after resolving the problem with Rachel. He knows that the support from Emily and Laura helped him get through a difficult time and find stability in his life and career. Their relationship has become stronger, based on mutual trust and respect. Even though things have calmed down, Emily can't forget what happened. She understands that honesty and courage helped her overcome a great challenge, but also realizes that the road ahead is still difficult. However, with Laura's support and Edward's trust, she feels ready to face any challenge that comes her way. Emily stood at the restaurant's bar, looking at the happy customers and peaceful. She smiled, knowing that she had done the right thing and had made a difference not only for herself but also for those around her. She understands that she is no longer a simple waitress, but has become an important part in the lives of the people she loves. Emily's story proves that honesty and courage can overcome any difficulty. But is her life really peaceful after all that has happened? Stay tuned to discover more surprising and touching sequels. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any exciting moments of this story. If you like this story, please like, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next dramatic parts. Also, leave your thoughts and predictions in the comments section below.